Hello there, Commonwealth from me. The way the story was told in Breath of the Wild could definitely have been better. Then how do you up the ante, but also stay true to an everyone 10+ rating? Actually, it shouldn't be a problem, as you can still tell a tragic story as long as you don't show T or M-rated content visually, but rather verbally or from a distance. But yes, with this rating, potential deaths of allies we know and love will most likely happen off camera, much like we never saw the actual fall of King Rome and the 4 champions in any of the cutscenes. With that being said, I want to see some sacrifices in this game and generational succession, so be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell, and let's get inside Tears of the Kingdom. In Breath of the Wild, all but one leader we encountered both in the flesh and in spirit were old and not really fit for battle. I guess it was 100 years too late for that. Luckily, they had Link, but with Ganondorf's return, the senior club of Hyrule will not cut it. In Tears of the Kingdom, it's not only Zelda's whereabouts that are unknown, the same goes for the fate of the Great Deku Tree, as we don't see him in any of the footage provided thus far, which brings me to the big point. What if the Zelda team is preparing a big line of succession across the land? We already have Princess Zelda technically being Queen Zelda with the confirmation of her father's and then his spirit's passing, but as we already mentioned, even her whereabouts and fate remain unknown. But this scenario creates a big opening, having King Sidon, Commander Yunobo, Elder Teba, Lady Paya, and Chieftain Riju, the next generation of champions, ending up not really as champions in Tears of the Kingdom, but rather rulers of each domain. A completely new chemistry among each other, and with Link, as believe it or not, in Breath of the Wild, they never met each other, as they didn't leave their respective provinces. They all have one hero. What I want to see is the following happening. Ganondorf's return to power unleashed a number of cataclysms on Hyrule, which only the Great Deku Tree was able to escape by retreating up to the sky, where he once again prepares to guide Link on the path to restore and merge the Master Sword with the power of courage. Meanwhile, back on the surface, the hero of Hyrule realizes as he breaks the barriers to Goron City and Rita Village that the elders of both were killed by Ganondorf, leaving a determined Teba and Yunobo to gather their tribes together and prepare for war, as they will never remain safe as long as Ganondorf remains in the castle, though they need Link and the combined Master Sword first. Hence for now they smite their weapons and armor, which they will wear and hold as they enter central Hyrule when the time arrives to storm the castle together. In his rage, Ganondorf also targeted the last kingdom still standing, and in it, King Dorephan, who at last was reunited with his daughter Mipha, knowing full well that thanks to his time with Link, his only son Sidon was ready to ascend the throne as king. Though first, Link had to clear the turmoil both on the surface and in the sky, before the deceased king could be buried in the royal mausoleum and King Sidon crowned by the veterans of the previous war. More determined than ever, Sidon, in gratitude to Link, and as retribution for his father's and sister's death, declares war on Ganondorf and his allies and orders a full mobilization of the Royal Zora forces. They will wait for the signal to attack from the Hylian champion and hero. Paya, on the other hand, was not ready, so when her grandmother was wiped by Ganondorf, she initially burst into tears as Link returned to Kakariko village, or more specifically, what was left of it. Having hidden feelings for the hero, she told him everything that had happened and what must be done, with Dorian standing by her side, who made it clear that the time for action against Ganondorf and the Yiga who had previously killed his wife was now. He told the full truth about his Yiga past, defection, blackmail, deaths, and turn of heart when it came to the Sheikah heirloom. He further explained how the fanatical Yiga were fully on Ganondorf's side in this conflict, especially after Link defeated Master Koga. Hearing this, Paya rose up and proclaimed to the gathered crowd that the time of Kakariko Sheikah pacifism had come to a close. Once again, the farmers would become Hyrule's greatest warriors. Exactly what the tribe used to be 10,000 years ago. Once again pledging his allegiance, Dorian promised to stand by Paya's side and help her prepare for the battles to come. Also that she could be as formidable as her grandmother was 100 years prior. They would prepare as Link made his way to Ganondorf's former kingdom in Gerudo Desert. There he found the deposed Riju, as with Ganondorf's help the Yiga had been installed in Gerudo town, all to keep Link out. Well, that and another barrier forcing him up to the sky by time reversing the fallen rocks. We all know the rest from here, the Yiga getting kicked out, Riju returning back to the throne, and this time promising Link military support when he would storm the castle. I don't want to repeat myself too much throughout this video, so let's get to the point of all of this. Everyone, including the inhabitants of Lorelin Village, Athena Village, and Tarrytown joined forces for the decisive battle in central Hyrule that will make the one we went through in Age of Calamity pale in comparison. The initial setback on the ground impacted all of Hyrule's 8 provinces, and all of them were dependent on Link's quest in the sky in order to return to some sort of normality and then prepare for the ultimate battle in the Zelda timeline. Well, at least since the ancient battle against the mice. All of Hyrule against Ganondorf, but this time with no Yiga turn despite Dorian's influence, but rather have the Yiga staying on the path of evil until this battle is over. They and the monsters of the Blood Moon stand in the way to reach the ruins of Castletown and challenge Ganondorf to another duel. Only missing piece to the puzzle is whether Princess Zelda will play any role prior to said battle, as we see 3 scenarios for her in this storyline. 1. Finding a way out of Hyrule's deepest underground, and then command the Hylian forces Link has gathered. 2. Is kept imprisoned by Ganondorf in the castle and will witness a potential battle from his side or, well, cell. Or C. Watches it from way above as she died in that fall and has been guiding Link throughout his quest as a spirit in the sky. If C is the case, then this battle will have even more emotional weight as Link slices his way with the Master Sword that was reforged up in the sky. This is for her and everyone who had fallen in order to grant Hyrule a future, and a potential Zonai spirit army joining in, just like what was the case with Aragorn and his army of the dead in the Return of the King. A tribe which probably was instrumental in the sealing of Ganondorf at a great sacrifice a long time ago. A hand holding him in place which has followed this Link throughout his second, or depending on your point of view, third quest. 100 years ago, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Just like the saga or trilogy of power, wisdom and courage as Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But first we need to be properly introduced to the Zonai as hinted by the murals and rock carvings. The spirit tribe of the dragon, which is long gone on the surface, at least in the former form. A tribe of former Faran barbarian warriors who value courage above all else, and which would be the perfect fit for the army of spirits that we all want to see. Even so, they will have a requirement to lend their assistance. The Master Sword needs to be combined. Repaired exactly how it was intended by them, with a material and force of courage, as only it will do for what awaits the hero down below. And here we have the division of the sky and surface. The sky is all about bringing the Master Sword even further beyond with the help of tales and strength from times unknown, as creating a champion in Japanese masterworks teased in its final 2 pages. The surface, however, should be all about rallying Hyrule's biggest army gradually, and first when these objectives of sky, surface, and potentially also underground, if Zelda is making her way out from there, bring all the forces onto the massive battlefield that is Hyrule Field from the Great Plateau, where it all began for us in Breath of the Wild. Then break the defenses of evil in the center of the field, before making the dash for Castletown and Hyrule Castle, where Zelda made her stand against Calamity Ganon 100 years ago, and Link against Calamity Ganon recently. Back to the castle, where Link was first titleless champion by King Rome, and where her hero ended Zelda's wait for retribution. Though between the hero and that eternal glory, there is still one obstacle that he must face alone. The reincarnation of the miser's hatred that once again embroiled Hyrule into turmoil. Ganondorf. He will fall, and so will the curse. Even if that requires defeating the original Demon King himself, just like Hylia and her chosen hero did before him, and with it, the time to speak with a proper voice. I will win, even if I fall right after, once again. Hyrule will have its freedom and future. It ends here, the culmination of the Legend of Zelda series and timeline in the 20th Zelda game in 2023, and the beginning of a new storyline in the franchise's 40s. Naturally, I expect 1 or 2 plot twists along the way, but I refuse to try to guess them or even predict them at this point in time, since we all want to be surprised by them when we play the game ourselves. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of ups and downs, struggle and triumph, but with sacrifices that we wish for this game from Commonwealth Realm and probably many of you watching. A happy ending of sorts, but more fitting to the tragic theme that hangs over the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom saga. But what do you want from the story of the 20th Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom? Please share your ideas and thoughts, as we might make a follow-up video with your greatest ideas, and then we will see who of us gets the closest to what is actually in this title, Tears of the Kingdom. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell, and once again with all notifications on to not miss any of our upcoming Tears of the Kingdom videos. Last but not least, a big thanks goes to all of you watching and to our patreon.com/Comeron patrons, and in particular our raw producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.